are now tuned into the 2-Minute Warning, a live stream community conversation pertaining to social and political issues and how we can collectively resolve them. Powered by the Westside Gazette.
Hello and welcome to the 2-Minute Warning. I'm your host, Perry Busby, and the 2-Minute Warning is brought to you by the Westside Gazette newspaper, Broward County's oldest Black family-owned newspaper. And joining me tonight is the publisher of the Westside Gazette, Mr. Bobby Henry, and our other associate, Mr. David Wright. How are you brothers doing tonight?
I would say that I miss you guys, but Perry, you gave me such a hard time before we actually came on air. Yet and still, I'm terrific and getting better. And I miss you guys. So we're back.
Great.
We're so glad to have you back. In the words of Charlie Wilson at the Gap Band, outstanding.
Outstanding. Okay, very well.
Good. All right, so Bobby, since you were out, man, you got to bring us up to date. What's been going on in your travels? You the one going not coast to coast, but not coast to coast. You're going coast to coast and across borders. So tell us what's going on.
I'll do the best I can to fill us in. First of all, the recent election to the position of chairman of the NNPA is a daunting task. And I'm sure like a whole lot of leaders, before you got into the seat, all you could see was the glory. You didn't really recognize the story. But you know, as stuff begins to unfold, you really get a chance to see the amount of some friction, some binding, understanding some needs, some things that has to be done from the position that you sit in. And you know, we think that, well, some of us think that a newspaper, a Black-owned media, whatever platform, a blogger, a podcast, a digital show, as long as it's Black, you got some issues to deal with. And it's something that's not readily acceptable. You know, I take my hat off to Roland Martin and what he's doing, and to Mark Thomas and what he's Thompson and what he's doing. You know, it's to be commended, because you really have to get a whole lot of information, and then you have to research the information to make sure what you got is correct. Because when you open your mouth to speak, you can't take it back. And so I had the privilege to speak before the Ohio State NAACP's state conference at their Black media luncheon, their Black press luncheon, which was on behalf of Ohio's Black Media Coalition. And it was an eye-opening experience. I met some very, very phenomenal people. One sister in particular, Miss Ophelia Berthe. She is dubbed the diva of membership when it comes to Ohio's NAACP. Her family has a rich history. She is her culture is a mixture of Dutch, Portuguese, Black, and she's well versed at 90-something years old. She's just a doll. So I really enjoyed that. And the other thing that I was elated about, there's a young brother by the name of Montrese Terry, a graduate of Skegee, but he's from Ohio. And this brother is a wealth of knowledge, very tech savvy, and extremely down to earth. So much so that the brother, before I gave my keynote speech, he opened it up and he used something that we probably haven't thought about in a long time, and that's that grease can on top of the stove, you know. And so he used that as a metaphor to talk about some things. However, he missed one of the most important jobs of that grease that was on that stove, and I had to educate him to. So when black folk didn't have any lotion, we had to use some of that grease, to keep our skin from being ashy. So, but nevertheless, when I began to speak about their theme, and I wrote about it in this week's paper, Thriving Together, which is the NAACP's national mantra, if you will, for this year. They started it at the national conference in Boston, and in Ohio, former Senator Tom Roberts, who's also the president of that state NAACP conference, used that as a part of their theme. And so the Black Press Coalition used it as well. So it was a very fitting and stepping stone for me to use, because in the same, if I'm talking too much, y'all tell me, in the same vein of the motto or the mantra we use in campaigning for the chairmanship was team, and that team is spelled with two M's, TEAMM, and it's together each can accomplish much more. So if we're going to thrive together, we have to do it in the spirit of team. And so that is my mantra until we can see a change happening with us coming together. And that's from the grassroots to the national organizations. And one thing that we have to realize is that Black-owned media is the voice of all Black organizations, and we need to use that. This is not a time for us to sit around and play coax or relax. This is serious. And if we don't take it serious, then we are in for a rude awakening, of which we're already in a place where woke's supposed to come to die. So we are in for a rude awakening if we don't do things in the spirit of team. Together, each accomplishes much more, thriving together. And so we have to do that. And that was my message. And it is the message now that we need to begin to hang together. Because in the words of one of my friends, who I had a chance to see him again, Bill Matthews, in Columbus, Ohio, if we don't hang together, then they damn sure will hang us separately. So, that's I'm trying to be keep it, in that vein. But that's where we are.
Mm-hmm. And I want to commend you on that. Hats out to Roland Martin. I had an opportunity to listen to him today. The integrity in journalism, and as you alluded to, after COVID, everybody started blogging and doing various things, doing their own thing, without always verifying and doing the research and everything it qualifies a real, true journalist to do. Mm-hmm. And this is one thing I know about you, and hats off to you. And even if it's incorrect, you guys go back and set the record straight.
Absolutely.
And we are not about putting out false information. So again, continue to do what you do. Continue to help galvanize us so that we can thrive together. Speak the truth, especially the truth to power.
That's cool.
And continue to thrive together, as we said, and hang together.
If we don't, they're gonna hang us separately. I see Miss Betty Lumpkins made a comment. Miss Lumpkins just reminded us that was called lard. We made lard biscuits too. And tonight is light, but it's educational, and we're just gonna have some fun. I know we're competing with Thursday night football, or Thursday night football is competing, with us. Yeah, that's all right. There was a little screen flash. So, but we're here, and we're gonna make the best of the time that we can to make sure that we drop some knowledge, as well as to remind us that in order for us to thrive together, we got to do it as a team. What's happening on your front, brother?
Yeah, we got so much crazy news going on. I don't know where you want to start, man. But this Congress we got
Oh.
Hell.
Oh,
This impeachment inquiry.
so what are they doing? You know, we impeach one, they want.
Tit for tat.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's what it sounds like, unfoundedly. But that's what it appears to be. Time out for this, man. The American people are hurting, man. The nation is hitting us. You know, we're dealing with the rollback child care protections. I mean, here's a country that, you know, they want to say they're pro-life, but then they want to take away all the benefits that it takes to raise a child in America. Harold, what do you say about that?
Well, it just kind of goes to show us that I've been looking at these recent events, and yet we see it every day. I'm beginning to see in the wider society. As I was listening to I can't remember his title, the guy in Georgia, who talked about the intake officer, who talked about why he felt it was important to fingerprint the president as well as take his picture, because we begin to see that now in wider society, in the sense that people are now beginning to say, well, those laws really don't matter, in some sense. And we get a sense of lawlessness. I mean, right now in Las Vegas, the mayor has had to order teachers to come back into the classrooms. Because they've had an 85% teachers have been taking absentees. One, because of pay, but it's due to a myriad of reasons, of things that are happening now in our schools. And I believe that it's happening, not that specific thing in terms of teachers not showing up, but I happen to work with an education service provider, and schools are really having a hard time attracting subs as well as full-time teachers. And that says a lot about our society, when now at the very crucial point of setting a foundation for our children, we are having these adult problems, or should I say maybe these childish problems.
You know, Perry, I want to back up. I must commend y'all for the show. I must commend you guys on the show from last week. Jenny Kahn and the information that was shared. I brought that same information to Ohio, and I really think that we're going to have to revisit that and truly bring more attention to what is happening. And it's almost the educational arena is they're trying to make it a training arena where you don't educate, but you train, like you train animals to these Pavlov's dog and all that other stuff. So that's something that we're going to have to revisit, and it's going the situation at hand is going to involve all of us to find an answer.
And going back to last week, Bobby, I know I mentioned to David after the show, and I'm not sure I mentioned during the show, but one of the I found out during in getting ready for that show that one of the leaders behind this whole Christian right nationalist is a guy who I had an opportunity to meet and know and even have dinner with.
Was he a preacher?
He owns a magazine. He's a white guy by the name of Steve Strain. He owns a magazine called Charisma Magazine, and and just during the research, even after talking with Jenny last week, just to see that subtle shift that's happening even within this common place where we were supposed to all come together around Christ. in our churches, and to see how they have taken that. And there's very much an outreach in terms of the black community to co-opt them, to co-opt that belief. And so, yeah, I think you're right. We've got to do some more drill down and some more focus on that.
Yes, we do. Good.
And just to add to that, so when we talk about our schools and we talk about the attack now that's on our schools, and in my opinion, and this is just me talking, but it seems like they're trying to dismantle public schools altogether, which would actually put the powers back in their hands to create this training program that you spoke about, which also elevates this pipeline. I hate to regurgitate some of these negative views that we've seen in the past when we start looking at third graders and their reading skills and start determining how many prisons we need to build, because we know that these kids, especially people of color, are more prone, if they're not at a certain reading level, are more prone to get in trouble and end up in one of these institutions. So this is where we really truly have to be mindful. I always go back to the sisters of the Black Panther movement, because it was all about feeding and educating our young people.
And David, you bring up an interesting point when you talk about trying to shut down the public school system. Our Jewish brothers and sisters, they have it right. It's difficult. It's difficult for the oppressor to teach the oppressed how not to become oppressed, or to understand what freedom is. Politics, funkadelics. You free your mind, and everything else will follow. And I know that they understand that, so much so that the governor and all of his antics and shenanigans and what he's doing to try to dismantle any form of a roots, identifying roots to your culture and education. And I'm gonna jump to another subject. Gregory Held, the president of Broward College, in an overnight situation, this brother here is on the verge of really doing something with Broward College and some other financial institutions to keep Broward College at the top of its game and educating brothers and sisters from the grassroots level, from the neighborhoods that don't normally get a chance to go to college. So, but he's doing that. Now, all of a sudden, Governor DeSantis has replaced 3 of the board members of Broward College with 3 of his choices. And all of a sudden, this brother who just yesterday came out making a deal, and now all of a sudden he gave them their resignation letter. So here we are today. The diverse community of Broward County came out and told Broward College board that under no circumstances should they accept his letter of resignation. There's more to it than what we are being led to believe. All of a sudden, Governor DeSantis, 3 appointees, and now Mr. Hellich resigned from his position. So what is going on? You think about what New College? Yeah, go ahead.
And Big Black Broward, Big Black Democratic Broward, that's happening.
Perry. Now we saw.
I'm gonna be messy. Yeah,
I know, but go ahead, be messy. We saw what Big Black Broward did, and we need to come back. There's a wake up call happening, man. And Perry, you're absolutely right. When you position that question facetiously, but there's some merit to it. Here we are in this strong Democratic, supposed to be county, and yet and still we can allow a person to put in people to destroy something that's beneficial to us?
Well, I will say that Republicans have not been secretive about uh, their views on education. The Department of Education is one of the departments that they want to abolish from a federal level, anyway. So that sort of tells you where they are. And so if we can't abolish the Department of Education, we definitely will usurp the authority within those educational systems. And you have to understand, Republicans are doing a very good job because for so long these institutions have thrived just based on a social contract that we will all approach the table and be somewhat civil and have some decorum. They've thrown those things out of the window, and I believe it has been up to us in terms of how we respond. And I think that kind of keeps us in the quandary because you're going to have some people who will say you have to respond in like manner for them to understand. And then there's other people who will say, no, let's take the higher road. And if that becomes our argument, we never will address the issue that we're facing.
You mentioned the word decorum. How is it that Marguerite Turner, what's her name?
Taylor Green.
Marjorie Taylor Green.
Come on, man. Is that decorum? What about this other California politician who was just at a concert, stood up to take a picture and smoking a vaping pipe, and they had to escort her and her guests out of it. And she's a legislator, So you want to talk
Lauren
about
Boebert? Lauren Boebert.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about, golly gee, we have to maintain our decorum. There's a time when all that stuff has to go out the window, when it comes to this battle. Yeah. What's going on, David?
So let's just go back to this situation in Broward College. That's my alma mater.
Okay.
But there was a time when the community would be truly aware of what's going on. I can attest, and I want to hopefully get our listening and viewing audience involved here. But how many of you knew about this situation? There was a time when this community, and Spirit, so kind of sarcastically hinted at, this big black Broward County would have all been aware of it and stood up and stood out and said something about this, and it would have made some type of protest in reference to what is going on here. And now we're sitting on the sidelines like crickets, being silent about it, when we know what it's all about. And this isn't new for this particular governor in this state. So again, let's talk to the black media. Let's share this information. Let's get the word out so that we can get folks' opinion and get them, in my opinion, fired up.
Okay, now, what? Under the cover of darkness. Now, this supposedly happened about 11 o'clock last night. So the assembly of people who came out to support were those people in that little circle, and I applaud what I saw in the room this morning at that board meeting. It was a diverse population to the point of business people, right? And I've seen groups come out to support when Runcie was in office, came out to support him. When this has happened to the president of BCC, we came out, Broward College, to support him. What about when the common person, when we are experiencing trauma, where are we in supporting those individuals? I commend the community, that segment of community, but it has to be extended across the community. We can't just do something because of a level position, high profile. Yeah, but that's your alma mater, and Greg has done some great things. He has. You know, he wasn't at the meeting today, but those who believe he was doing such an outstanding job was. You know, so hey, what else you got over there, man?
Man, we got so much stuff going on now. We're really about to get to the bottom of the hour, but the state of Florida,
Yeah,
is getting ready to get involved. We've been able to bring the right Reverend your friend. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Which one?
Tallahassee,
Barber?
William Barber.
yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
I know that's your
Yes,
Carolina brother, eh?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
You know, if we can, Ari, can you put up the flyer with the events in Tallahassee, then Jacksonville? We'll do Tallahassee first. Here we go. Okay. Right. See, so on this Friday, September the 12th, I'm sorry.
Right.
Your Friday, the 15th, at 12 p.m. in Tallahassee. Dr. William Barber from the People's Campaign will be having an event to bring some truth. It says it's time for truth and love. Now, one thing about Reverend Barber is that he will bring a collection of people, but with one objective, and that is to hold on. I'm being you got me, Brian. Hold on, help me out on this one, man.
Well, I mean, Reverend Barber, like you said, he's
Yeah.
known to bring a large of people from all walks of life. So in Tallahassee, this event is going to be this Friday, the 12th, and then at 12
15th.
p.m. The 15th, at 12 p.m.
Right.
This Friday, the 15th, at 12 p.m. And then Saturday in Jacksonville on the 16th. And again, we know the atrocities that have just happened in Jacksonville. As a matter of fact, they funeralized some of the people that were massacred there.
Yeah.
And we really want to see everybody that can come out, be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of healing that needs to go on in our country, especially here in our state with the governor that is kind of spewing some of this activity we feel that's going on. But again, Reverend Barber has been known to help bring people to the forefront that help positively impact the word and the message that he brings.
Absolutely. And the situation in Jacksonville that's happening with us in Jacksonville, we got.
You having some technical problems?
We got Thursday night football, and it's here we go. And so in Jacksonville, now I don't know if we're familiar with the axe handle massacre. So Jacksonville is not oblivious to hate crimes, but I don't know if y'all had a chance to see that video that happened inside of the church when they had that was supposed to be an opportunity for the community to voice their concerns about what was happening. And in so doing, they had to escort a couple of people out of the church. The what's the legislator's name? Drawing a blank. She was ostracized, if you will. She was drug across the carpet because of her support of and bringing DeSantis to the first community.
Was that the council?
Yeah, the councilwoman, Joy DeCoop. Anyway, I don't.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it got out of hand, right? So we are in a position of being torn apart by this governor in more ways than one. Yes, his lawful or unlawful actions, but also when it splits us as a people. You know, Some of the residents felt that uh, no way the governor should have been given an opportunity to speak at an event. The master of ceremony, if you will, made a mistake. He said, and instead of just acknowledging DeSanchez, he gave him the microphone, and he got booed, and it was, you know.
Yeah, that was Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman.
Jacoby Pittman. That was one incident.
Yes.
And the other incident was with the brother who gave up the mic unknowingly, if you will.
Yeah.
But those actions, if we're not mindful of what is transpiring, again, we find ourselves being torn apart, torn asunder.
Yeah, but it goes back to what I was saying, earlier, Bobby. For the people to boo DeSantis, and and the response was, no, we aren't going to make this partisan. I don't believe those people were booing because he was a Republican. Those people were booing because they were black, and they were tired and upset of things that were happening. And once again, we get back to that issue of, well, about decorum. Mm-hmm. And so how does an oppressed people voice their discontent? Mm-hmm. When we got a former president out here slinging 4-letter words left and right on the campaign trail. So, it just adds to that psychosis that I think the black people deal with. Yeah, we are not a violent people. Despite what they want to say in terms of black on black crime is no different than white on white crime in a white society, no different than Hispanic or Latino crime in a Latin neighborhood. But we buy into that. And even more so, I think some of our leaders, because again, we're trying to balance this thing, and so how does a community voice their pain?
Yeah, how do you bring balance? How do you bring balance to an uneven situation?
Yeah,
how do you do that? It's going to take some friction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The event in Jacksonville. What is? I know the event in Tallahassee was to present a cease and desist letter, sort of a simple. But what's the focus of the event in Jacksonville?
It is a continuation. You see, it's a continuation of what had transpired. You got Reverend Barber, and you got a couple of other clergy people. These clergy people were some of the same ones in a session where they were speaking out, about DeSantis and what his position has created. Yes, they outright called DeSantis out for his behavior and how it was creating this hostile climate, if you will, this clarion call for racists to come out, and they adamantly spoke about it, and they're going to continue to speak about it. I think this march, I'm not sure where the march is headed to.
So yes, as we know, Reverend Barber, it's a moral gathering with clergy, and it's a led march to City Hall at 9:00 a.m. They're going to do a centering prayer at Bethel Church, 215 Bethel Baptist Street, and that's in Jacksonville. And then at 10 a.m., they're doing what's called the Speak Out, and that's also going to be right at Jacksonville City Hall, right there at 117 West Duval Street. He has several clergy that's going to be on the program, and they're going to be addressing the killing of the 3 people in Jacksonville. inviting people to come out and especially definitely be a part of both the prayer, the centering of prayer, and the speak out.
Mm-hmm.
How do we air our frustrations, as you were saying, my dear brother? We have to get out there and let our voices be heard. And as you said, truly, we're not violent people by nature. But I can say this, man, when a person's provoked, when a person has been truly taken advantage of, marginalized, downtrodden, you can bring out some of the worst in them. Especially, I gotta put my deacon hat on here, if they don't know the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some things that we face in our community. But again, we truly have to come together, have to hang together, have to be able to talk to one another, have those candid conversations and support one another when it comes to especially traumatic massacres.
We said some, Perry, you said something about when you started talking about black on black violence, white on white violence, Latin on Latin. As it gets closer to home, on next Saturday, there's a group of men, and Eric, would you put the flyer up with the one with Tony Evans? Well, that's David. You can talk about this one. Let's do that. Then we'll come back.
Okay. Well, absolutely. This is going on also on the 15th of September. That's tomorrow. This is a young lady, Dr. G, we call her, who travels the country. She's based out of Dallas, Texas. She's done several events called Candid Conversation for both men and women in Dallas. And she's taking it on the road. We're coming to Fort Lauderdale, actually Pompano. We're going to be here tomorrow. And then they're going to Atlanta. So this is an opportunity for young men to come together across all generations. We have our younger, our Gen Zs, our Gen X, our baby boomers. We're going to have a plethora of men there speaking, having conversations. It's going to be fun. There'll be some music, some light snacks, but it's all about now getting into the conversation. Let's put ourselves in a safe space, being vulnerable to just share, some of the thoughts and the conversations that we normally probably wouldn't have if this particular environment was created for us to come together and talk.
Okay, and then another event that's happening in Pompano. It starts on the 20th. There it is, Black Fathers Weekend, and this is I know Reverend Eric Jones from Koinonia Baptist Church in Hallandale is one of the organizers of this event, but they're bringing Tony Evans in to talk about issues that are affecting our young black men. Now, when I spoke to Reverend Jones, what made me feel that the approach that they're striving for is one that I believe in, and he shared with me, Bobby, we tried to create something to try to bring the fathers in, but they weren't coming in. So we went out to them. We went under the trees where they were doing what not all young men, doing what a lot of us did, or engaging in stuff to take your mind off daily stress. So they went right to the trees, under the trees, and on the corners to try to get these young men to come in and have conversation. And so it's working. And next week, could you put that flyer up again, Eric, please? Okay, here we go. And Rise. There's several events on the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. They got a Women's Wednesday that they're going to talk to the women. And then they got the Rise workshops on the 21st. And all this is happening, I think, at EPAT Larkin.
No, this is at Hopewell.
That's at Hopewell. So
this is a bigger venue.
Yeah, different venues. So if you can, look at that flyer and see if you can you can justify or see where those venues are.
Yeah, everything's gonna be at Hopewell,
except that breakfast.
but then on the 22nd,
Yeah.
that's the evening with Dr. Tony Evans,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the 23rd, when Black Fathers Rise.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful event, but I can tell you, if you reach out to the brothers and sisters over at Hopewell,
yeah,
you will definitely get all the information as to what's going on. And that's 890 Northwest 15th Street, Pompano Beach, Florida.
Is there a phone number for Hopewell on there?
Not on the flight.
Okay.
But I'm sure our viewers can find it.
Yeah. Again, the approach that they're using, I think it's one that we need to use, and that's to go where the people are.
And to add to that, there's a organization called the Circle of Brotherhood that has started a chapter in Pompano.
Yep.
And I want to throw my hats off to Brother David Miller down there. I spoke to him recently via text, and we're going to be supporting each other on the event tomorrow and a couple other events that are coming up. So the Brothers of Circlehood is an organization that started out of Dade County with a lot of our brothers, mature brothers who have gone through programs and through the system and have committed themselves to coming back and having these conversations with brothers on the street, brothers under the trees, and showing them a better way of life. So hats off again to them and partnering with these organizations and working together with brothers over at Hopewell. I'm looking for an exciting event coming up next week.
Yeah, brother, Pastor Brandon Jones from Mount Calvary. His father is one of the ones who started the Circle of Brotherhood out of Miami. When that situation arose with all of the shooting, and they went on the fast, they lived in tent city. So they are serious about trying to find a remedy to bring brothers and holding them accountable as fathers and as men. Okay, all right. Then there's another event. There's what was September the 15th, 1963. Here we go. If you follow history, then you would understand why Birmingham was called Birmingham. Several instances where black people were bombed. One in particular was the church, the 16th Street Baptist Church, where four black girls between the ages of 11 and 14 were blown up in church while attending Sunday school. There was Carol Robinson, Denise McNair, Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, and there was a survivor that we don't talk about as much, and that was Miss Sarah Collins, whose sister Addie Mae was killed in the bomb. Over at Sunshine Cathedral this Friday at 7 p.m., Spike Lee's documentary movie, The Bomb That Shook the Nation, will be shown, and a discussion will be held concerning the movie and the entire incident. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman that was actually, I think he was the musician at the church. He'll be there to join in the discussion. Again, if you want an opportunity to touch history, black history, our history, this is an opportunity to come out to, what's the name of that church again? Sunshine Cathedral.
Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine Cathedral. Can you put it back up so we can get the address? Can we see the address? Okay.
Yeah, that address is 1480 Southwest 9th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Sunshine Cathedral.
There's a therapist who will be there as well. It's put on by one of the Masonic lodges. And so I think if God's willing, I'm going to be there. I want to touch history. I want to get a chance to, the musician who played in church on that Sunday morning when that bomb went off, Mr. Earl Davis, So I want to get a chance to shake his hand. And then Minister James Bell, he's a Birmingham resident. We got Dr. Pamela Hall, the Associate Professor of Psychology at Berry University. And then there's Reverend Richard Clemens, Senior Warden of New Era Lodge. And then Ronnie Bennett, I'm sorry. She's the Executive Director of South Florida People of Color. And then Eldridge E. Johnson, the Worshipful Master of New Era Lodge. So this is an opportunity to really engage in conversation about a part of history where we will actually have a piece of history there. So please come out and support this. Yeah, I think that's a great thing. Yeah. What else you got over there, Dave? You got anything over there?
Oh man, it's just so much going on. Since we trying to really keep it real, we're in the month of September, and I'd be remiss if I did not bring up. This is actually Sickle Cell Awareness Month. As you know, the West Side Gazette has been one of the true champions here in Broward County in supporting and being a part of almost every event that's going on. I would say, the past 20, 30 years, dealing with sickle cell and, just making us aware of what's going on and helping support that organization, helping support blood donating and things for people that need that blood and transfusion, and just keeping the awareness at the forefront, since this thing really strikes more African Americans than anybody else. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. The annual Sickle Cell Gala has been moved. The date has been moved from September to December the 29th. And I got that today from Ms. Karen Small Smith. So we will be celebrating at the gala in December. Yes, we do know that sickle cell is a crippling disease, and it affects mostly people of color. So whatever we can do to bring awareness to it and support the cause, you can donate. You can donate your time. You can actually volunteer. Yeah, I said that, donate your time. That is volunteering. I'm sounding repetitive, but it is an organization worthwhile getting involved with. Okay. I see we've been joined by a couple of people. I see Trudy there. Mm-hmm. I see Deborah Mizell gone. Good evening, everybody. Melvin Wright. Melvin Wright is one of our what do you call them? Traditional. You believe in something. Followers, and he is a true fighter for HIV and AIDS. His slogan is, "We are in this fight together." So thank you, Melvin, for joining us. And he got some activities coming up, so I just need to get his information.
Yeah, I think he was headed to New York, right?
Yeah, he was in
New York. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have some other viewers that have chimed in. Sister Lumpkins asked, will this be a live event Friday, Saturday in Jacksonville? Absolutely. Yeah. That's going to be a live event. Probably won't even need a ticket. All you need to do is just get there. What my dear brother say, don't meet me there, beat me there. Yeah.
Is Miss Lumpkins saying it's her birthday?
Yeah.
When is your birthday, Miss Lumpkins?
Yeah, looks like it must be this weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I was just saying. I also wanted to do a shout out to Reverend Rhonda Thomas. Pastor Thomas has been on our show before when we were talking about voting, but Reverend Thomas is the executive director of Faith in Florida, and Faith in Florida has taken the lead on something that we talked about on this show at the onset of the governor's his attempt to circumvent the AP African American Studies curriculum here, and I know we talked about it here, and we said, well, why don't churches begin to take up this mantle and begin to teach it? And Faith in Florida has started that process, working with a few churches. In fact, they've even developed a curriculum for churches to follow. So I give that shout out, and I say it publicly. I do hope that Pastor Thomas will come back and share some of that information with us. Let us know about the curriculum, and as well as to see what other churches in Florida have now come on board, and what we can do to help spread that word about this new curriculum and this new project that is taking place within our places of worship.
Okay, and Terry Dillon, you're not gonna believe this. I just pulled my phone up so I could talk about the situation that's happening down your way. We need to get you on the show so you can talk about it. I promise you. I didn't see you, and there's a situation that's happening down in Hollywood, Hallandale, Daniel, that really needs our attention. And Terry, if you don't mind, if you would like to come on the show and let's talk about it to see how we can get some answers or find some help for the situation that is occurring down there. I just pulled this up. What else we got going on?
We got a couple of people that's chiming in, so we do want to acknowledge a lot of our viewers. We got Miss Trudy Love on here, who's speaking out. One of our regular guests, Sister Deborah Mizell, saying good evening to the West Side Gazette family. My dear brother Don Campbell is out there viewing, and we just want to acknowledge, those of you that not found it robbery to switch on the other channel, but to tune in here with the 2 Minute Warning and the West Side Gazette. Sister Tanji Bates over in West Park, welcome. And we're just excited to have y'all on here. Please feel free to chime in, like us on Facebook, YouTube. Go ahead and post any of your questions. If you have anything or any concerns, any hot topics you want to share with us tonight, please feel free to go ahead and post them in the chat.
Okay. I'll back up a little bit. Miss Mizell asked what was occurring down there. Okay, and I'll just give you a little bit. This says the purpose of contacting you regarding our Northwest community is in sadness over the ongoing shooting and crimes. Unfortunately, the recent fatal shooting of a teenager, 16-year-old boy. And the residents are feeling that their complaints are falling on deaf ears. The residents are afraid to come out of their homes, especially our senior citizens in high crime areas. So we need to draw some attention to this and see what we can do. Yeah. Thank you. There's a lot more to it than that, and I'm sure if we can get Ms. Dillon to come on and talk about it, we'll do that. Okay. Ooh. Where are we? Anything else over there we missed?
Well, this month we continue to want to talk about what's going on in this month. And there was an organization, you probably don't hear about them as much as you used to. You remember Big Brother, Big Sister?
Yeah. Well, yes.
But they are still around, and they're also being acknowledged this month. This was a program that really not a full adoption program, but it was more of one of the earlier mentoring programs that we had, where you could adopt a big, so to speak, or be a big to a child that was in need. And I think more than ever, that's still needed today. Big brothers, big sisters. Yeah, we're acknowledging them this month. Anything else you got on your end, Perry?
What's that?
God.
Oh, we have elections coming up, and this is always an exciting year in Broward County, because this is when
I don't want to give you no free advertising by mentioning no names. I don't want
You
to.
don't have to give those names.
Yeah.
This is always an exciting time in Broward County when people come out of the woodworks and start throwing their hats in to be various campaigns. So we're not going to give a whole lot of names, but we do want you to know there's some interesting races going on, especially in the city of Lauderdale. There are some newly positions that are being sought after by certain African Americans as Broward County tax collectors. So
we're not going
to keep your eyes and ears open out there. Hopefully this will motivate people to come out.
If you don't see anybody advertising in any black newspapers and they're supposed to be black, don't vote for them. Now.
All right.
Now.
All right.
I've said it. If they don't think enough to support black businesses and they're running, then why should we support them? You know, we got to be real about this thing, y'all. I mean, you know, talking out both sides of your neck, that ain't happening. Mr. K. Wilkerson, you want to put that phone number up there?
Well, come on, cuz. That's Mr. K. Wilkerson.
Yeah.
Out of Lauderhill, out of Pompano, and a faithful Hopewell member. The number to Hopewell Baptist Church is 954-943-2141. So anybody interested in that event next weekend with Tony Evans and that RISE program, it's going to be a 4-day event starting with the women on Wednesday. You don't want to miss it. So that number again is 954-943-2141.
Thank you, Mr. Lumpkins. Thank you. There's also in the Westside Gazette this week, part 1 of a special report on violence in Black America. That's in the paper. And please check us out at our newsstands and do that. And this 12-year-old golden listener.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Well, that violence in America, it really focuses on violence in Black America. And as we've known in the past, that's not always attributed to black on black crime when we talk about violence in Black America, especially when we talk about the event that just took place in Jacksonville. So we have to cover all of this. And as our dear brother Malcolm X said about the chicken coming home to roost, that a lot of this violent nature that we emulate, we learn from being oppressed.
Okay. Let's do this. We're getting close to the hour. I don't know if Harry had an opportunity to do a little bit of that video from Ohio.
From the Tulsa?
Oh yeah, from Tulsa.
Tulsa and Ohio, yeah.
Did we get anything on? Were we able to pull that up?
Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is the historic Greenwood District, better known as Black Wall Street. I feel pain! A thriving African-American community once spanning 40 square blocks.
Greenwood was created because we were excluded.
Until the massacre of 1921.
Greenwood was burned to the ground and over 300 people were murdered.
1,256 homes burnt down.
This history is recent enough that there are still 3 people who lived through it.
The spirit of Black Wall Street survived.
And the story of Greenwood is finally being told.
My family was here for the 1921 race massacre.
Oh, wow.
They had a house on Lansing Street.
We've been waiting for...
It's just the pressure. We're just trying to do good. We're trying to do good.
100 years later, descendants of that community are building a new legacy.
We don't have providers of color in Tulsa. I'm building a space. Doing this by myself has been very challenging.
And we're here to help.
How are you?
How you doing?
Defabration. Today is the day.
Teamwork.
Our team of designers, builders, and experts are seeking out Black Wall Street descendants,
This is where my grandfather's business was.
entrepreneurs, and community leaders
There's more to Black history than slavery and the civil rights movement.
Right.
to learn about their goals for restoring their community
I wanted to be part of the solution.
and to help make a difference.
We're here today to make new memories.
And rebuild Black Wall Street one brick at a time.
idea how we're gonna get all of this done.
Hold on, man. This is not the right bridge.
Oh my God.
Okay, great. Okay, David and I, we were just looking at the West Side Gazette. We're going to ask you guys to go to the West Side Gazette and check out the other activities. And in all fairness and honesty, we have to help each other and support Black businesses. Before I do this, you got something you want to say?
Well, not just that. I mean, here you have an opportunity to converse with everybody in your community that subscribe to not only the paper, but the online version. So you have multiple facets of media to share your ideas, to communicate what you're dealing with, to help support others, and just tell your story right here in the Black newspaper.
Perry?
As always, this has been an enlightening hour of my week that I look forward to. And, we focused a lot about things that are happening in and around the state of Florida. But that encourages us all because, as I say, what we can do in one place, we have to be nimble and ready to implement in some other places. And so I just encourage our listeners, those who are inside and outside of Florida, continue to join us, continue to add to the dialogue, continue to help expand our horizon of what we can focus on and what we bring of value to all of our listeners. So again, thanks, Bobby and David. Appreciate this hour again this week. It's always good.
Okay. All right. I too want to thank our listening and viewing audience. I truly do. And I commend Perry, you and David for what you do and how you carry on the show in my absence. You guys are unsung heroes, if you will. And so I'm elated. Also, I can't stress enough what it means, what the Black press, what it means in all its entirety, not just from a newspaper or a Black-owned radio station or the very few Black-owned television stations we own, our podcasts, our digital shows, everything that we touch to try to bring a positive, enlightening experience to remind you just how great you truly are, and it's going to take all of us to do that. We cannot do it alone. We can no longer work in a vacuum. That ain't happening. And if somebody says that they support you, then doggone it, they need to show that they support you, not just talk about it, be about it. And for our Black politicians or our white politicians or our Jewish politicians or politicians, period, if you say that you want our vote or you deserve our vote, then damn it, you got to support our businesses. And that's all of them. Don't just come to our churches on Sunday morning. Don't try to pimp our churches and our congregation on Sundays with your need for a vote. You got to do more than that. It's a brand new day. God bless you all. Take care. And we'll talk to you next time.
Good night.